Imagine an empire stretched to its limits, its borders trembling under pressure, and a people forced to flee from destruction, only to find themselves caught in a storm of betrayal, starvation, and bloodshed. This is the Gothic War of 376 to 382. See a pivotal moment in history that shook the mighty Roman Empire and set the stage for its eventual decline. By the late 4th century, the Roman Empire was a behemoth, ruling over millions from Britain to Egypt, but cracks were forming. The empire was split into East and West, each ruled by separate emperors, and external pressures were mounting. One of the biggest threats, the Huns. The Huns were a nomadic group, sweeping westward from Central Asia. Their arrival displaced other tribes, including the Goths, divided into two main groups, the Tervings and the Greuthungi. These Gothic tribes found themselves between the Huns' wrath and the Roman Empire's walls. In desperation, the Tervings, led by their chief Fritigern, begged the Eastern Roman Emperor, Valens, for asylum. They promised to settle peacefully in exchange for food and safety. Valens agreed, but what followed was a disaster of epic proportions. When the Goths crossed the Danube River into Roman territory, they expected relief. Instead, corrupt Roman officials exploited them. Food was scarce, and what little the Goths received came at a price literally. Romans demanded gold, even enslaving Gothic children in exchange for dog meat. Tensions boiled over. By 377, the Goths had enough. They rebelled, and the Roman Empire found itself facing an enemy within its borders. The Gothic War had begun. The Goths quickly proved their mettle. They knew the terrain and used guerrilla tactics to outmaneuver the Roman forces. Emperor Valens underestimated them, sending inexperienced troops to deal with the barbarians. But the Goths weren't just barbarians. They were warriors fighting for survival. Valens decided to handle the rebellion himself, but his pride would cost him dearly. He refused to wait for reinforcements from the Western Emperor, Gratian, believing he could achieve glory on his own. August 9, 378 Adrianople. This was the turning point. Valens marched his army straight into an ambush. The Gothic cavalry crushed the Roman legions in a devastating battle. Valens himself was killed, possibly burned alive in a farmhouse. 2/3 of the Roman army was annihilated. It was one of the worst defeats in Roman history. This wasn't just a military loss, it was a psychological blow. The invincible image of Rome was shattered, and the Gothic War entered a new phase. After Adrianople, the Goths roamed freely in Roman territory. They sacked cities and took what they needed. The new Eastern Emperor, Theodosius I, realized that outright defeat of the Goths was impossible. Instead, he sought peace. In 382, a treaty was signed. The Goths were allowed to settle within the empire as federates, semi-autonomous allies who provided military support. But this wasn't a resolution, it was a bandage on a gaping wound. The Gothic War revealed the weaknesses of the Roman Empire. It showed that Rome could no longer control its borders or integrate its enemies. The Goths' victory inspired other tribes to challenge Roman authority, contributing to the empire's decline in the centuries to come. This war wasn't just a battle between armies, it was a clash of cultures. A story of survival, betrayal, and adaptation. The Goths didn't destroy Rome in 378, but they planted the seeds of change that would transform the ancient world forever. If you enjoyed this dive into the Gothic War, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories of war, power, and survival that shaped our world. See you next time.